Hello, welcome back. What on earth is that? Well, that is a gunlock, and those are the parts and pieces that go together to make it work. Let me show you very quickly. Well, first off, we've got the lock plate, and we got the hammer, we got the tumbler, got the bridle, the mainspring. Oh, I'm missing a part. Oh, here we go. Here's the sear. So they're probably names that you've heard, but you don't know what they do. Well, this is a hammer. This is the outside of the gun here on this side. This is off a Mortimer rifle. Sorry, a Whitworth rifle. This is a tumbler. This is attached to the hammer by this square part. So that goes in there, like that. Hammer goes on the back. That's a press fit, so I won't put that on for now. Okay, so this is the sear. The sear engages on the tumbler. That is a fully cocked position. That is the half cock position. Here you notice that that's quite a deep slot or trench there, whereas the full cock position is just a short ledge. And the sear pivots through a bolt which goes in there. This is a sear spring. That puts a bit of tension on the sear and holds it in position against the tumbler. So you can see when the gun is on full cock, that's when the hammer's back here. When the gun is on full cock and ready to fire, the only thing that's stopping it from firing is the sear spring here. Now then, the trigger is below the lock here, and it's just a hinged plate. It's quite a thick plate, like that, and it will touch on the arm of the sear. So when you pull the trigger with your finger, pull it back, the plate goes up, lifts the sear out of position, tumbler goes forward, hammer goes forward, fires the gun. Now then, you notice there's a part missing, and that's this. This is the mainspring. The mainspring has got a locating lug that goes in there. That piece fits under there, and then that will go there. And it's quite a powerful spring, so you need a mainspring compressor like this, which goes over. You tighten it up. That will compress the mainspring, allow you to hook it up to here, and then the spring is under tension. I won't do it now, it's rather fiddly, but don't attempt to compress the mainspring without one of these. Don't use a vice grip or a mole wrench. You'll bugger it up. You'll mark it, and wherever you put a mark on a spring is a possible start of a fracture. One more part that I left off, and this is the bridle. The bridle holds everything together, like a bridle on a horse, gives you control, and that's got a locking lug that goes in there and there, and then one of these screws goes in there to hold it all together, and another screw goes in here, the pivot. And this sear spring has got a locating slot here, so you would lift it up and put it into tension that way. This little screw holds the hammer on the back edge of the tumbler, and that very quickly is how a lock works on a percussion gun. Now then, this is a lock off a Flint lock. See, we have the Flint, and this is off a Mortimer rifle. So we can see all the parts. This is the screw that holds the gun in, that holds the lock into the rifle. So you can see all the parts. We've got the mainspring here, got the bridle, got the sear, we got the tumbler. An initial feature of this one is it has a safety catch there. But when you pull the lock back, you can pull the safety forward and it engages in a notch on the tumbler, and then when you put the gun onto full cock, it pushes the safety off so the gun is ready to fire. And again, the only thing that's stopping the gun from firing, because it's under terrific tension off the mainspring here, the only thing stopping the gun from firing is the sear spring here, which is holding the sear into the tumbler. And then again you can see the half cock notch or slot there. So you can see that once that sear is engaged in the half cock slot, it's held quite securely. That was the safe position to carry your flintlock, because with a flintlock, when you want to fire the gun, what you're doing is actually igniting powder which is in this pan. So you tip powder in the pan, and then you produce a spark which ignites the powder in the pan, which flashes through and ignites the main charge. But you can't walk around with it like that, or you'd lose your powder, the wind would blow it away. So you have your half cock position, put powder in your pan, close your frizzen. And that holds your powder where it should be, where it's ready to be used. Your gun is safe because it's on half cock. And then when you want to fire the gun, you just pull it back onto full cock. Release, pull on the trigger, which lifts up on the sear, releases the tumbler. Tumbler flies forward, takes the cock with it. The flint hits the frizzen, shaves off red hot particles of metal which go down into the pan here. If I can do it. No, I can't quite do it now. But there we go. Shaves red hot metal particles into the pan which ignite the powder in the pan. The flame goes through the touch hole or the vent hole, ignites the main charge in the gun, fires the gun. You notice a difference in terminology. On a percussion gun, this is the hammer. On a flintlock, this is the cock, and this is the hammer. But we very often call this the frizzen as well. It avoids confusion if you call this the frizzen, because people associate this with being a hammer, and therefore they consider that the hammer, but in actual fact it's not. If you want to know why it's called a cock, well, just look at the outline. Isn't like a cockerel pecking at grain. That's how it got its name. So there we are. Very briefly, those are the working components of a lock. This is the flintlock, and this is the exterior of a percussion lock. This is more slimline because you don't have the frizzen and the associated frizzen spring that keeps the frizzen snapped shut until it's ready to be used. So there we go. Hope you've learned something. Hope it's been useful to you. There's a lot of mystery involved in locks, and people start talking about them. They talk about bridles and tumblers and sears and all that kind of stuff, but it's really fairly simple. And this, in its day, and its day lasted over 200 years, this was the AR-15 of its day, the AK-47 of its day. Today it's just a quaint old oddity that silly old buggers like me shoot. But it's good fun. There we go. Hope that was useful. As always, enjoy your shooting. Take care of yourselves. Look after one another. Talk to you next time. Goodbye.